Hello, and welcome to another episode of Life in the Mind, a neurodivergent podcast hosted by some neurodivergent people. I'm Joy Amy Wigman.
And I'm Murray Spear.
And we have back with us on the show, JB.
Hi.
Hello. This is our topic episode where we just talk about a particular topic. And as JB works in SEND, in education, we would thought we'd talk about how you support others who are neurodivergent, either in your job or in your personal life, while still looking after your own needs as a neurodivergent person. Because it's quite a complicated juggling act, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you start off by telling us sort of, so what do you do for your job?
So I work as a learning support assistant. I started the job in Wales, which has a different education system to England. So I now work in England, so that crossover has been interesting to say the least. So I worked in Wales and I started at a Catholic sixth form college. So supporting students on like a one-to-one basis outside of the classroom, occasionally in class, working with students with like various different needs and things like that. So I've always wanted to work, like not always, okay. So I've wanted to work, nah.
That's all right. That's how all our brains are today.
Yeah. The jump starts.
So where are you working now?
So now I'm working at a educational industry college.
Cool.
So it's for students who want to go into industry, specifically fashion or beauty, and also having education alongside that.
That's really interesting because you don't think about SEND support for that area.
Yeah.
You think about it like for more academic settings.
It's very different.
Yeah.
But there's still, I mean, students still need to retake the English and maths GCSEs. Got to be getting those A's and 9s.
Yeah.
Or C's and 6s. I don't know.
understand the number system.
The England number system makes no sense.
I think you will enjoy the previous guest's episode. We had Mia on, who has dyscalculia, and us talking about how ridiculous it is that all employers are demanding A to C grade in maths. GCSE when they don't actually use numbers at all in their their job. But yeah.
So yeah, they have to retake English and maths, but also it's things like they have to still do project work. They have to organise their time. They have to sit in classrooms. They have to understand what's being taught to them.
Yeah.
And I think as well, like 16 to 18-year-olds, which is the age group, and this is for neurotypical people, students as well. It's the age where they're kind of really developing that sense of like, all right, who am I? Like, I'm becoming an adult, and things are changing. And especially when you go from the school system, which in Britain I personally think is atrocious, like.
You're not going to get any disagreement from this side of the panel. I think.
Not at all. And I've recently seen, so the students who have just come from secondary school up to college now, and they're like, what do I name this slide? And it's like, whatever you want to name it. Like, whatever you want to name the slide. Like, it's your slide. You know, they need like that total structure of what they're doing. They like cannot like.
They're not given any freedom before they get to the college stage.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they don't know how to take that freedom. And
no, not at all. So it's like, so that's just for neurotypical people, like students, and then adding neurodiversity on top of that is really hard for them. Like, but they're, you know, they have what they want to do.
It's nice though. So the industry thing is it feels more vocational. So it feels like they've made a choice about what they want to do.
Yeah. There's definitely lots of different support. I think English and maths is really important, but also like sometimes just the abilities to sit in the classroom and stuff like that can be really hard as well.
Yeah, different ways you learn, different ways you can do like even just the individual learning time. If you can manage the unstructured time outside of like classrooms or lectures or something, can differ.
So how does that work for you personally, so you're supporting people
Yeah.
who are neurodivergent, but how do you do that and still look after your own mental health and your neurodivergences?
Not always great. Not gonna lie, not always great. How I use a lot of my own personal experiences when working with students. Like, I'm very like open with students about my own like issues and things that because I went through like all of secondary school. I went to college twice. I went through all of that, and I did my undergrad with no formal support at all. I had a couple of teachers who were very supportive and were very helpful, but nothing more than that. So I understand what it's like to like be working without that support. So then, you know, to try and help them and things like that. And just kind of like give them the knowledge and understanding that I didn't have. I think it's very different time now because like TikTok exists.
Yeah.
And Instagram exists. And in your last episode of
The first season.
the first season.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were talking about I can't remember her name. You know the blue hair TikTok, blue heads.
Yes, yeah.
ADHD.
And I can't remember what they're called, but she has ADHD and he's autistic and their son is autistic.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I love them so much.
Yeah, they are great.
And what I love is that I normally have blue hair and we have the same mug.
Do you even have the same mug?
I have the same mug as her, which I was just like, oh my gosh, we both have blue hair and we have the same mug. That's great.
But it sort of creates a little community, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So people have more information about it.
Absolutely. So there is more information about, but also think like lived experience is really important.
The more people are talking about that.
Yeah, and just being like, so at the moment as well, a part of my job is I'm introducing myself to apprenticeship students. We have apprenticeship students as well. And when I was talking to one of the apprenticeship teachers, they said the struggle they have is that students still do not want to declare that they have neurodiversities, especially in the workplace. So when I've been going around to their classes and I've been like, hi, I'm so-and-so, you know, send me questions. And I say to them like, look, I'm neurodiverse. I've got a whole long list of them. And I've been in many different workplaces. I've had so many jobs in so many different areas. And I know what it's like to work in places like between, you know, having diagnosis, not having diagnosis, having help, not having it. Like, so if you're having trouble with things, please come to me, please email me. Like, I want to help you. I want to help you understand and stuff like that. At my last college, I ran a neurodiversity group. And so like every week we will kind of do different things. And so sometimes it would be based on like what's going on at college. So it might be like mocks or exams. Other times it will be like, okay, I'm going to do something about like, don't get conned by multi-level marketing schemes.
Yeah.
But also here are the things for that. And, you know, you can put this into other areas of your life. Here's spoon theory. Here's this. Here's that.
Nice. I guess it's creating a little kind of community thing because you're bringing people together and you can share ideas and experiences and
you're also showing the worth in sharing the ideas and experiences.
Absolutely.
and validating that.
So we do Life in the Mind in partnership with Inclusion Gloucestershire, and they talk about experts by experience. So you don't have an academic qualification, but you are an expert in ADHD because you have ADHD.
Yeah.
You have full-on lived experience and the value of that. And by creating the groups like you're talking about, that will probably inspire one of them later in their life to also give advice to more of their peers.
Absolutely.
And on and on.
I would like that. That would be good. I do know that the group actually has continued since I left the college.
Oh, that's great.
Which is lovely. It's different now, but it's still being done, which is nice.
That's brilliant because you can go around almost seeding these little things and then having them spread from there. And like you were saying, even if like one person or two people do the same, then it gradually ripples across the society.
So that we don't end up in another generation of kids who aren't getting the help that they need because the parents don't have the knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're creating a generation of potentially new parents who will have the knowledge.
I hope so. That would be nice. I think going back to the original question, the hardest thing is that when things are going on in my life, especially like, so over this last year, I've had like really big changes in my life. Got divorced, moved to London from Cardiff, like all this sort of stuff. And my ADHD has been a big part of all of it. It's, you know, it was a factor in the divorce. It's been difficult moving. I've lost my house key like 4 times in like 3 months. All this stuff. And then going to work and saying to students, it's okay that you have neurodiversity, and inside I'm like, I hate my neurodiversity. It's stupid. ADHD is ruining my life. And kind of trying not to project that to the students because I don't want them to feel that negativity that I am feeling.
Yeah,
but it's also all right to have that negativity because it is realistic.
Yeah,
it's the reality. And I know you're trying to inspire these kids to be okay, but
I feel like they already have the negativity.
Right, okay.
They already have the negativity from themselves, from other teachers, from other areas that they don't need that from me as well.
Do you find ways of sort of using that positivity to sort of inspire your life? Does it remind you of the things that you can do by having to tell them?
No, sometimes. So one of the things, so in neurodiversity group, every week we would do snaps, which was definitely taken from Legally Blonde, Pink, White and Blue.
Nice.
But rather than be about each other, it's about yourself. So every week you had to write at least one positive in the cup of something positive that you've done that week. It can be anything. It can be big, small, whatever you want. And every week I would have a student go, I haven't done anything. I was like, you have done something, put it in. Like, I don't care what it is, put it in.
Come here today.
You know.
You had a shower.
Yeah,
because
some of them did that. And by doing that, I was like, right, well, I can't just not write anything in. And I remember, I can't remember what week it was. One week, like a load of them were just struggling to put stuff in. I was like, look, you guys know, I can't hide my emotions. They knew something was going on in my life. I didn't obviously tell them because they're 17-year-olds. Like, they don't need to know about my, you know.
And it's that.
They don't need that.
Yeah.
But I was like, look, you know that something's, if I can write a positive, you can write a positive. And I think that was like quite good. It was like, no, I have to, if I'm like leading from the front, I have to like write a positive, even if it's something stupid or whatever.
Or just something little, those little wins.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you know, some of them, you could always tell when like certain projects went in, because I remember one year, so in Wales, they do the Welsh Baccalaureate. Yeah. And I remember one year, like I had for several weeks, at least 1 week, one positive every week was handed in my Welsh back. And it was like, well done, guys. But yeah, sometimes it would be like drink water, got up, made my bed, made friends. Sometimes like people went out, sometimes people like bought clothes, you know, it was so many different random things. And they were really good. That was one of my favorite things. And the other one was the 5-minute word vomit, where someone could stand and do a presentation and talk to us about their favorite thing for 5 or 10 minutes, depending on when it was.
Amazing.
And everyone had to shut up and listen.
That's brilliant.
That was the rules.
I love that.
It was a lot of fun. I learned a lot.
Info dumping,
it was
when you're allowed to
holding
info dump.
space for info dumping.
Yeah, I gave them a Grey's Anatomy family tree one week.
Wow.
It was awesome. There was a lot of, and then this character's died now. So anyway, but then this happened. This character's died now. So moving on.
It's every week in Grey's Anatomy, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It sounds like by you being really open with them, and because you were so open with them, and while still holding that distance, that professional balance, it allowed them to understand and connect with you in those moments of, if I could do a positive this week, you can.
Yeah.
And that they knew, it's really nice that those examples you were giving that they felt they could give weren't those big positives.
Yeah.
Like people go, oh, I haven't been for a run though. I haven't done all of these. I haven't done the tick box. I haven't eaten loads of vegetable this week, so it's not positive enough.
Yeah.
It's like, you got out of bed.
Yeah, you got out of bed.
You ate something.
That they see that
Absolutely.
as seeing those as wins.
Those are valid wins.
Because maybe if you're neurotypical and you've also got good mental health, you can't see those as wins because they're just baseline for you. But if you're neurotypical, things that simple can be massive, massive wins.
Absolutely.
And being able to celebrate those, I think, is really good for everyone's mental health.
Yeah.
Subjective positives are such a big thing that we need more awareness of in society, that what is good for one person is bad for someone else. What is like a massive win, a massive moment of, I've achieved something massive, is something inconsequential to something else, whatever that is. And that coincides with where our strengths lie and where we are, who we are.
It's also been good. It was like learning in reverse kind of thing. So I had a student who just kept talking, like saying the answers out loud in lesson, even though they weren't being called on, to the point where other students were complaining to the teacher about it.
Right.
And the student had come to me first being like, I keep doing this, I can't stop. And the teacher came to me and being like, the student keeps doing this, like people are upset about it. And I'm like, yeah, we're going through it. And I used to do the same thing, basically. You have the thought, you just need to say it out loud. Like to the point where I would literally like hold my lips and listen to stop myself being able to say it out loud. So I totally understood where the student was coming from and like they were explaining it. And I was like, well, why don't we try like writing it down? Because then you can get the impulse out straight away and you're just rerouting where the impulse goes. And the teacher then knows that you are writing down the answer. The teacher knows you know the answer. So you're getting that validation, but you're giving other people in the class a chance to answer, being part of that group and stuff. And that kind of worked. That did work. And it was like, why didn't I know that like 10 years ago? That could have really helped me.
Why didn't I know that a few years ago? Because I've just finished my master's and like I am that student. I can't, if I know what the answer is, I can't hold on.
Absolutely. It's just like having that understanding and being able to like pass on the information, but also for them to be able to say stuff like that and for me to get it, I think is also sometimes quite a new thing for them as well.
Yeah, that's important.
Because they tell me stuff about their secondary schools and I'm like, you shouldn't have had that experience.
Yeah.
I am sorry you had that. And you like want to remain professional, but inside you're like raging that someone said that to a student.
That was us last week, wasn't it? We were talking about Mia's experiences at secondary school, and Mia's only 26, and it was like, this is after the Equality Act. How dare this happen?
Oh yeah,
lots of indignance happening here.
Some of them is like just a year ago that the students are telling me stuff, and I'm like, I am very sorry you had that experience. And inside I'm so angry that but you can't be like swearing and stuff like that. It's not professional.
Do you have a way of getting it out when you get home? Have you got an outlet?
That's a good point.
Not any sort of positive one, no.
Okay.
Well, it's something I'm still working on.
Yeah.
But no, I don't currently have, and I haven't. It's something it's a big thing I've been working on that.
Yeah.
It's very difficult for me because I build up the anger. When like Inside Out came out and everyone like related to a character, most people related to sadness or this, and I was like, no, I'm anger. Like, and it bubbles inside of me constantly. So working on that has been an ongoing thing in my life.
It is an important thing to have, I think, if you're working with people who have similar issues to the ones you face, but you are in a position where you have to make sure that their well-being is more important than your well-being.
Absolutely. And also they also deal with anger and they may take it out on you, which I've had. And so a student like recently said something to me, and she wasn't necessarily she wasn't being rude. She was just saying how she was feeling about the situation. And like, that was a week ago. I'm still taking it very personally.
Yeah.
And it's
not personally on me. There's definitely more I could have done in the situation, which I am now rectifying and putting in place and stuff like that. But it's not all on me. But the student said the thing and I'm like, I still feel like it's completely my fault.
Yeah, professionally you have to let it go, but personally it's harder
personally,
than that.
I'm going to be thinking about it until probably like I feel like we've been able to resolve the situation in a way that we're both happy with, which may be months down the line. And then maybe I will let this go. But the one comment, I will, but she doesn't need to know that I am still ruminating on the one comment.
No.
Because I don't want to make her feel bad for making me feel bad, because that shouldn't be on her at all. No. It's my responsibility to handle my emotions.
Yeah.
She is 16.
But it's
not her responsibility.
It's a really important thing, again, is that, because it sounds like in all of your work, it's been really great that you've been able to by being so open, by being yourself, and sharing things, you're being that person people can come to, and being that positive experience and example that they can then carry onwards into their life or disseminate to other people is brilliant. But then, it's that balancing. It's so hard to balance that with then looking after yourself and professional thing, and how much you allow to take onto yourself and stuff like that. It's such a big balance.
Yeah. Which I think
it sounds like you're doing really well.
Yeah, which I think is probably a good place for us to put on a finish, just to let everyone know that, look, you do have to look after yourself as well. Even if you are in the position of responsibility, your mental health and everything is important as well.
Yeah. Even if you're giving care, give care to yourself.
Give care to yourself.
I like that.
Thank you so much for joining us again, JB.
No problem. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. Okay, folks, that's it for this episode. You can follow us on Instagram at life.inthemind. Our other socials are linked in our bio. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. See you next time.